Example 64 reads, according to a study, the relation between the total amount of time students spend studying material for their final exam in Spanish 1 and their test grade can be modeled by the function t of x equals 55 plus 17 natural log of x, where x represents the amount of time spent studying in hours. Find the expression for t inverse of x. So in our original function, let's just kind of recap here. X is the input variable, and that represents the amount of time spent studying in hours. So time in hours. And capital T represents your test grade. Now, the reason I want to know all of this information is because when I find the inverse function, these are going to swap around. The input and the output are going to swap. Our test grade is our output. All right. So find the expression t inverse of x. So we're going to go through our steps. Change t of x to y equals 55 plus 17 natural log of x. Step 1. Step 2, swap the x's and the y's. When you do that swap step, right there you're looking at your inverse function. We just need to now solve for y, which is step 3. That's the big step. So to get y by itself, I'm first going to get rid of the 55 by subtracting it from both sides of the equation. So 17 times natural log of y. Unhook the multiplication by dividing both sides by 17. So I have x minus 55 all over 17 equals natural log of y is log base e of y. And the reason I wrote it that way is now I want to get rid of the word log, so I'm going to need to rewrite it as an exponent. Bring down the base is e, the power is that x minus 55 over 17 equals y. That y is your inverse. So t inverse of x equals e raised to the x minus 55 over 17 power. All right. Evaluate t inverse of 95. So for part B, we're going to substitute in the number 95 for x and do e to the 95 minus 55 over 17 power. Well, I can do a little bit of this in my head. 95 minus 55 is 40 over 17. Now I'm going to use my calculator to help me get out a approximation here. So take E, do second and the ln button, and raise it to the 40 divided by 17, close parenthesis. And I get 10.5164, a bunch of digits. It doesn't say how many decimal places to round, so let's just give them a couple here. Approximately 10.51. And now we got to go back and think, what the heck did we just find? Actually, I'm going to go 516. Just depending on where you're rounding. I mean, if you're going to round to one decimal place, this would be about 10.5 because the 1 isn't big enough to bump that up. But here's the question. It's like, what did you find? What's the output here? Well, the input and the output here got switched around when we found the inverse. So the input is now the test grade. So your test grade of 95, my output is now the time in hours. So what did we just find? Well, the 10.5 is hours. So a sentence would be, you would need to spend, to earn a 95, you would need to study 10.5 hours. So you've switched your input and your output. So now your input was the 95, the test grade that you wanted. The output is now telling us how many hours you would need to study for that.